You're recording? Okay. All right. Thank you, Bonnie. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Northampton Urban Forestry Commission meeting of July 2nd, 2022. Thank you for all of you for responding to my inquiry about meetings, summer meetings. We'll talk about that a little sooner, a little later on in the agenda. But glad to see all your faces. Um, Public comment. Kent, it's official. I do not have to ask you
I'm
for.
not public anymore. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yay!
yeah. So
Did you give him the secret handshake?
I basically told him he can't say anything anymore now. So I mean, it's
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure sometimes which is better, but Kent, welcome. And thank you for not being a member of the public comment section. Now a full member. We appreciate everything you're doing here. So thank you. So without any public at the meeting, if there is someone that comes later on, we can always let them in and they're welcome to comment. Review of the minutes from our last meeting in early June. I don't know if folks had a chance to review them. Molly's good, Jen's good, Rich is good. Um,
Do you have some questions?
of course.
Because there's two riches.
Yes.
It's a little ambiguous, and I don't
Oh,
know in some cases which rich is referred to in the minutes, and it'd be nice to.
You can assume it's always Rich Parasolidi unless mentioned otherwise.
Okay,
That's the easy answer.
that's sort of what I was guessing. I wasn't sure who filled everyone in on the recent plantings. That was Rich Parasolidi on the setback initiative. Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Bonnie, if you could just, I don't know, I don't know if you, I don't know how
I
we're going
can't
to do
even
this.
do Rich P.
I know you can, it's really hard. Rich P,
All
Rich
right.
P, Rich P1, Rich P2. I'm a junior, so you can throw junior after my RP,
Or,
JR, whatever makes
or
your,
you could put TW Rich as in tree warden Rich.
Yeah.
That's what we do in our
that is
communications.
right, but that
right.
doesn't work either because you're Texas rich. So,
Well, that
I don't know.
Well,
True.
how about one is Rich and one is Richard?
Hmm? Hmm.
Well,
I mean, you have now Rich
Rich,
Parasolidi, you have Richard in your name, but
I do, but Rich Parrish and I are going to have to do, that's like formal. We'll have to do rock, paper, scissors offline.
That's
Figure this out.
right. Right.
But just if you could do
hmm.
Tree Warden Rich and just
I
Rich.
know. What are your middle names?
oh,
But how are you going to know? How is anybody going to know that? They
They're
won't
not.
know who's who anyway, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
We'll figure it out.
There's one little typo that I noticed. It's just a little typo. It's in the under the spring planting setback initiative, the third line, it says plating instead of planting.
Thank you for catching that.
Hmm.
Any other comments? Could someone make a motion to accept the minutes as amended, please?
Sure, so move.
All right. Do we
I'll
have a
second.
second? Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes. We have we have a motion and the motion's been seconded to accept the minutes as amended. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Bonnie, can we take a roll call, please?
We can. Rich Parasolidi,
That would be yes.
Susan, Molly,
Yes.
Jennifer,
I have to abstain because I was absent.
okay, and Richard Parrish
yes.
Yes.
and Kent Johnson.
Okay, the motion carries.
I'm sorry, should I have abstained?
No, it's fine. You don't
Okay.
have to, you don't have
Yeah,
to
I
abstain.
thought that's what you said before.
Yep, you don't have to. So let's see. Okay. Oh, it's my turn to talk now. Okay. Chair report. So we are officially been awarded our Tree City USA and Growth Award for our 8th year. And our Tree City USA is 18 years and our Growth Award is 8 years in a
Hmm.
row. So that happened on the I want to say the 18th, and I have a picture I'm going to share with you in a minute as soon as I can find it. Um, but it was held in Malden. It was a pretty good attendance. I was at Malden High School. There was a presentation from the local municipality, which was Chris Rosa. If you remember Chris, he came to one of our meetings. He's the tree warden and cemetery supervisor in Malden.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just trying to find Matt's email. Tree City USA. I don't know where it is. Let's see. Hold on one second. At K. Hmm. Not sure where it is. I'll find it eventually. So that award, uh, signifies a lot in essence, especially the growth award, because our growth award we keep adding every year to our growth award, which is extremely important. What's made the growth award, I think, a little easier to obtain is that there are expanded categories. So there's a multitude of things. Pruning was one of the things that we captured for the growth award. Planting, obviously, planting more trees than we're removing. Um, so I think it's it's good. I mean, I don't see that stopping. There it is right there. Let's see if I can find this photograph. Let me see if I can do a quick share screen. Where are you? Share desktop. Uh, okay. Can you see that all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that's Pete Church in the background at the podium. That's Julie Coop, which some of you may know. She's the DCR. She's the manager for the DCR Urban and Community Forestry um, division, which is underneath the Fire Services Control. Myself and Priscilla, and I cannot remember her last name, but she is also she is actually not the DC, not the commissioner of DCR, but like the deputy commissioner of DCR.
Hmm.
So there was probably about 15 communities that were there, 15 to 20 to get to stand up and get their award, and then we got a box that had our growth award in it, our Tree City USA award. It also had stickers to go on to our sorry, stickers that go on to our signs at the entrances of the city to say 18 years. So it was fun. Had a couple of really good presentations. One was Chris Rosa gave a presentation on basically what he does as a tree warden in Malden, and what he also does in Malden that's not related to tree warden work, which was really interesting. And one of the things that was interesting is that he built um, a permeable paver roadway in one of the municipal cemeteries that he manages.
Hmm.
And I actually went to go see it after the meeting was over, and that permeable pavement system was unbelievable because it's basically built on multi layers of crushed stone. The final layer being a number 9 crushed stone, which is angular, and then on top of that is laid these pavers that actually don't have sand in between them, like we typically think of pavers. They actually have the number 9 crushed stone,
Hmm.
and the pavers are built in such a way that um, the pavers are built, and I should have taken a picture of it. I don't have one. The pavers are built in such a way that they are sort of like a dog leg right and dog leg left. So they're angular and they have prefab bump outs on them. So when you lay them together, they do not, um, they don't compress together. So there's no seam. And it's a
Hmm.
perfect seam to drop the number 9 stone inside of there. And then you just basically sweep it in with a broom. And that thing is one giant, um, infiltration galley.
Wow.
He had a 1-inch hose there running on the ground for the whole time we were there. And the water just disappeared. And it is connected to the city stormwater system in case of like a 500-year rain event or 100-year rain event. The water will, if that does get filled up, it will topple, it will go over up and over into the stormwater system. So there was that presentation. The other presentation I thought was really interesting. Dave Salino, who is the DCR fire chief, who was responsible for coordinating the fire control efforts throughout the state last year with local municipal um, fire officials, was there and gave a presentation on the state of a summary of the forest fires from last year and the state of what he felt was going to potentially happen this year.
Hmm.
He feels obviously he feels a little better at the moment because of the fact we've had so much rain. He said, but last year we had a lot of rain in the spring as well, and then it just ended up being very dry from basically the end of July until it started to rain again in early November. So he said definitely a concern. He said we learned a lot. Um, and I don't have any slides or anything to show you of that, but that was also really interesting. So those two presentations were uh, were really good. And then the Greenfield tree committee, a representative from the tree committee was there that talked about their tree program and talked about their tree nursery that they've started with monies from DCR, grant monies from DCR. So it was a really good day. A little bit of a long ride. It took me 3.5 hours to get there because of traffic on the pike.
Oof.
So
Wow.
it was a long day, but definitely well worth it.
Yeah, Rich, I think a mention of these awards, perhaps in the Daily Hampshire Gazette, might be appropriate, just to kind of raise the profile of our work.
The mayor I'm trying to think if the mayor put out a press release. I don't know if she did. I will ask the question. That's how I would do it. I would put out a press release and hopefully the Gazette. A lot of times the Gazette does not capture press releases
Mhm.
unless they're very um
Flashy.
yes, thank you. I didn't want to say it, but you did. I appreciate it. But it's I mean, I think we've planted so many trees and have a successful collaboration between this commission, the city, and Tree Northampton. And it's almost like, well, they're, you know, like we're like old news now. I mean, it's good
Mm.
news, but it's like, oh, yeah, they're going to be planting again this year. So are
There
they
is a press release on the city website.
for Tree City USA?
Yep,
Yeah.
Northampton earns 20, oh no, 20, well, it says 2024. Yeah, that it's
Yep.
dated May 2025.
Yep. Yep. That's correct. Yep.
U.S.
I
Trees
thought
USA
so.
Growth Award recognition from Arbor Day Foundation.
Yep. So
So the
people,
Tree City USA, that's how many years we've gotten that one?
18
And the other one is called the
growth
Growth Award,
growth award, and that's 8.
and that's sponsored by DCR.
Well, DCR in this particular DCR Community and Urban Forestry manages the communities that apply for it. Arbor Day Foundation has the final
Oh,
say as to who receives the actual Tree City USA Award and Growth Award. But
hmm.
Matt Cahill, which I think some of you have met him, but he took Molly Freilisher's place many, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And Matt is the one that actually reviews all the applications from the communities and then will reach out to us if there's something missing. Um, so ours is sort of, per capita has been, about 24 to $27. But that kind of goes up and down based upon the capacity of like the volunteers, the amount of trees that we plant. That also changes as we change, and our dollar amount has increased every year for funding towards tree work, tree removal, stump grinding, the employees, emergency response, amount of trees that have to be removed during storms. That all that stuff is calculated into there. So we've maintained a fairly high level, and then. The growth award has been, like I said, is because of the amount of trees pruned, the some of the professional development things that we've done internally. Also, the fact that we continue to plant twice as many trees as we remove, which is a big one. There's like 5 points for that. So you only have to get 10 points for the growth award. So there's a lot of different categories to choose from. So, but um, let's see. The other thing too is that the work, you may have gone by where the Rocky Hill Greenway is going to come out on Ice Pond Drive. So I did meet with a couple of weeks ago. Since our last meeting, I've met with Carolyn, the state DOT project manager, and the contractor who's going to be doing the work there. So we did have public shade tree hearings for 7 trees are going to be removed there several months ago in order to widen the sidewalk between Ice Pond Drive and where it turns into the Rocky Hill Greenway, or where that it's actually a Tennessee Gas transfer station. We own the land, but they have an easement for the pipe that goes through there. So you might see some work being done there. But again, all those trees we had public shade tree hearings for. Yes.
So those are the trees that are across the street from the greenway that's been built.
Yes, yeah, they're the ones that are on the opposite. So if you're coming up 66, you're going past the jail.
Left-hand side.
Yeah, left-hand side. They're sort of up on an embankment, and because the
Yeah.
embankment has
Yeah.
to be actually basically the has to be shaved or widened in order to accommodate the multi-use trail, those trees and the root systems would be
Mhm.
exposed to just exposed period, and the trees wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to stay there. They would just end up falling over. So we decided to remove them. So
Yeah, they definitely all been cut down. I rode my bike by
Okay.
there the other day. I
Right.
was like, whoa.
okay, yeah. I had an inquiry from a new resident on I think it's on Glenwood Avenue, at the end of Glenwood Avenue abuts 39 Day Avenue, which is that multi-unit construction project. Just inquiring about the project, inquiring about trees, public shade trees. So I think potentially there might have to be another public shade tree hearing there, but I'm not exactly sure yet because National Grid needs to install another utility pole on the street. So that means there would be a pole petition that would come to the DPW to install a new pole in the public right of way. And once DPW investigates it all, we have a process we go through. That's when we would identify if there's any conflicts with public shade trees. And then we would work with National Grid to try to figure out if they could move the pole into another location. But again, we haven't received a petition yet, but I know one's coming, so we may have a public shade tree hearing if there is a conflict sometime in the future. So the resident wanted to come to the meeting and talk about public shade tree hearings and I sort of explained to the resident that the commission does deal with public shade tree hearings, but they're not the enforcing authority for MGL 87. So the resident asked me a lot of questions, and I think I answered them all. So she seemed to be satisfied, and if she has other questions, I'm sure she'll reach out. That's really all I have for the tree warden report. Any questions for me? None. Okay. Our next agenda item is the summer meeting schedule. So I left this on there because on August 6th, it turns out that I have a conflict that day, and I will be traveling back from Upper Vermont from a a professional development program that I'm going to be going to. So I'm not sure if there is another time in August if people could meet at our regularly scheduled time, um, which would be August. Let me just find a calendar. Sorry.
20th?
I think so. Let me just look at the calendar.
The 20th.
Yes. I don't know if that is Molly, you're shaking your
Yes.
head. Is that
Yes,
good?
that's
Okay.
a yes. Second.
I will not be here.
Okay. All right. So Bonnie, does that work for you? Will you be here the 20th? Yes. Okay. All right. So if you're all okay with that, we'll make that our second meeting of the summer. Okay. Okay. And then my assumption would be is that our next regularly scheduled meeting after that would be the 3rd. The 3rd
Mhm.
of September. Let me
Yep.
just, okay. Let me just make sure that,
And then it's back to 2 meetings a month.
typically, yeah, unless there's some sort of conflict, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, Setback initiative. Before I go into the setback initiative, does anyone have anything they want to talk about in particular? Or any
Oh, I
questions?
have a question.
Yes.
What's the status, any changes on the status of the tree planting along the bike path in Florence, where all the stakes are?
Yep. It can't be a setback.
Oh, we can't do it?
No.
Ah,
No. We can only do setback plantings. Use the setback statute if we plant 20 feet off the right of way from like Bardwell Street, North Maple Street,
hmm,
Kai Street, because
too bad.
the land on the bikeway does not belong to us, belongs to National Grid.
Yeah.
So
So all those stakes that are in there are just gonna come out. There won't be
yes,
any trees.
yes,
Ah, bummer.
yes, yep. So we will end up. I mean, we could talk to National Grid and ask them if they would allow us to plant some trees in there. I mean, there's obviously some trees that are on the edge of the bikeway, and they don't necessarily, they wouldn't necessarily object, I don't think. But again, we'd have to have an earnest discussion with them. So for at the moment, I think we're just going to stick to try to doing setbacks.
Hmm, okay. Too bad.
Yeah. And that's
Will
if,
somebody,
go ahead,
will
Rick.
somebody be notified to pull those stakes up?
Bob and Bob Haxby and Tom Bassett were the ones that were really, Tom Bassett in particular contacted the bank, contacted National Grid,
Mm.
did all this footwork, and then met with Rich. And that's when, it's a complicated arrangement of that pathway. So like legally and
Hmm,
property wise. But I think Tom they're supposed to go pull up those stakes.
Okay.
I will email them just to remind them.
Okay. Um, any other questions while I'm trying to find what I'm looking for? Here it is right here. Okay. So I wanted to update you on the setback planting locations that we talked about our last meeting, which were the ones at Smith College. So I had the opportunity to meet Ben Green, who's the arborist at Smith, and Lily Carone, who I don't, her title, I think she is the sustainability coordinator. for the outdoor, the the outside of the green part of the campus on the outside. She worked in the Lyman plant, botanical plant garden before, but has worked at the college for 4 years. So I met with her and John, and we took the list of locations, which, if you remember, let me just find the list. It was 36 Bedford, 6 Bedford, 8 Bedford, 41 Elm Street itself by Stoddard Hall, 42, 43, and 53 West Street. So they were kind enough to hoist me into a golf cart, and we went all over the place. So
Did you get the one on State Street also that I added you as a postscript?
that was the one that's at the end of State Street by
Um, Not really.
that
It's the
sort of that Tudor looking building.
yeah, it's the State Street end of the Smith School.
Yep, I did, and so that is that is a Smith College rental property. So the Smith College grounds crew do not manage these properties.
No,
36,
that's the one at the corner of Bedford Terrace.
that's correct. 36 Bedford, 43 West Street, and 53 West Street are all college rental units. Is there a different address, Kent, that you're referring
Yeah,
to?
there was one. It wasn't on the first list, and I sent you a follow-up.
Okay, hold on a second.
It's a State Street address, and it's the State Street frontage of the Smith School. The
Oh, the campus school?
campus school has a huge building that extends all the way from Prospect Street
Okay.
down the hill to State Street.
Okay. I can just send them an email now that we're sort of working on this together. So the Smith rental properties, and if that is a Smith rental property, it will fall under the same the same track, and I have to contact their the manager,
Hmm.
in order to talk to them about planting and planting locations. Um, we did determine that the location at Stoddard Hall location could not accommodate a tree because there's just not enough room in there. And that was to the right-hand side of Stoddard Hall, right next to where the church is. They didn't want a tree there. Plus, there's a huge fire line that runs underneath the sidewalk right into the building. So you can see the blue cap and it's a big, probably 8 inch, probably 6 or 8 inch fire line. So what we did identify where we could do some planting was on the steep slope at 6 Bedford Terrace. Identified room for 2 medium-sized trees that could withstand de-icing and snow loading from plowing. Because on that embankment there, they plow the snow from the parking spaces towards Bedford Terrace, and the snow sort of goes over the edge and down the hill towards the sidewalk. So we're going to hopefully pick trees that can withstand that. At 8 Bedford Terrace, which is if you're at 6 Bedford Terrace, looking down the hill, 8 is on the left. There's room for one tree there. 41 Elm Street, which is that section of Elm Street that's across the street from the Fine Arts Building. There's a very long strip there, tree belt that has no trees, that there's parking meters. If you can visualize that location,
Are you talking about the Museum of Art?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, sorry. I
I
never,
think that's the
Alumni building.
Alumni House.
Yeah.
across
Yep.
the street from the.
yep, if you walk across the street and go like you're going towards Trumbull Road, that tree belt right there can accommodate like six underwire trees.
Hmm.
That's where there was a large elm tree there that towered over the three-phase wires at one time that had to be removed. Um, They also along with another large tree, possibly an elm cultivar. So there's room there to put potentially a large tree on that tree belt because the wires cross the road. So it's on the north side of the sidewalk in front of the Duckett Chase house. And then the other thing they asked about was on the art museum on the other side of the street. If you're standing at Bedford Terrace looking at the art museum, there is an embankment there that's within the 20 feet of the public right of way. They were asking if, we'd be willing to provide them potentially with some, work with them to potentially get some trees, some coniferous trees for that embankment to sort of provide a screen. The wires are on that side of the road. It is three-phase, so we would have to sort of probably have some sort of columnar, not a columnar, but a pyramidal type coniferous tree. And then they discussed adding 4 trees in the area of Park House, which is 150 Elm Street, which was not on the list, but it's down past College Lane. So if you're looking at College Lane, Helen Hills Chapel is on your back. Park House is on the right-hand side. There's copious amounts there's quite a bit of tree belt area there to plant trees, but there's also some of the students actually had requested that the college plant on their property, which would be within the 20 foot of the setback, some trees that would help screen Park House because it is a dormitory. So potentially we can plant looks like, let's see, minus let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 9 trees on the properties that the grounds folks take care of. 5 trees in the public right of way. And then potentially if I need to contact the manager of the other properties, potentially 4 other trees. So maybe 15 to 18 trees possibly.
Wow.
Possibly. So,
Was there any conversation about the students being part of it?
well, I was just about to
Okay.
mention that. So we may end up, again, this is a preliminary discussion, but there is a bargaining unit at Smith that manages the grounds. It's the grounds crew. So potentially, we may have to provide them, providing they're willing to sign the setback agreements as they are and accept them. We may end up actually providing the trees for them and all the materials, and the grounds crew would plant them. Just to avoid any conflict.
With no volcano mulching.
No. Although there is some volcano mulching in front of the alumni house, and that's not done by the Smith grounds crew. That was done by the contractor that planted those trees there. So there's definitely a division between what Ben does and as the campus arborist and what happens on the grounds part of it. Like, I think the way it works is that Ben basically touches the woody stem from the flare up. And everything else from the flare down is done by the grounds crew. So, and there has to be a dialogue that happens between the two departments. They're not connected. They're separate.
Oh, that's weird.
It's sort of like the way the DPW was a long time ago, where everyone sort of is in their own. You're all kind of traversing the same land, but you all have different responsibilities, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But,
well, technically, if the tree person is responsible from the flare up, he's responsible for that top half of the volcano. Like he can just push it away.
well, then you get into, okay, what is the flare? So yes, I see your point. So yeah, And I mean, I have a contact in the grounds crew as well, and I mean, everyone gets along. It's just a matter of trying to make sure that we do this correctly and that everyone is satisfied with what we, the end result. So, so I, what I asked them to do is, given the fact that the college is an arboretum, I asked them to think about the locations and suitable species that actually they would like to see that might fit into their arboretum framework. So they're going to spend a little time over the summer putting a potential list together. That'll give me a chance to reach out to his name is Gene, who's in charge of the rental properties. I'll find out about that other property on State Street, Kent. And then we'll just sort of keep plugging away. They were definitely amenable to doing a fall planting if possible. The public right of way part of it, we can take care of that in-house. But I did ask them if they had a particular species of tree that they wanted in the public right of way that might fit into that arboretum, some native plant material that might be salt resistant. There's a lot of salt on Elm Street right there though. So so that's my report. It's quick. Sorry, it's a little drawn out. I apologize. I'm just sort of reading off of an email that was a summary sheet, but does anyone have any questions?
I think
Comment,
Thanks for-
that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thanks for doing all that work. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
major.
yeah,
But it's such a good partnership, and yeah, and those trees will get taken care of. Do you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
do a good job.
they
on-
do.
They do a very good job on the campus.
Yep.
Rich, the address on State Street is 94.
Okay. Ken, does it say what does it say? Just Smith College?
It's part of that building, the campus school building.
Okay. All right.
They sort of added on probably all the way up the hill.
All right. I'll send Ben Green an email because he's the contact person to figure out which property is what and what's a rental and what's not. Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely not a residential.
No.
It's part of the school.
Yeah. Yep. It's part of the school, but it's not part of the school. It's kind of
Oh, part of the campus school.
yes, part of the campus school, yes. Um, so basically the way we left it is that Lily said she's going to confer with John Berryhill, who was the arborist and now manages the much larger framework of the green infrastructure at the college, and our collections manager, Caddy Wilson, in the coming weeks to come up with a list of species to share with you, ideally by the end of July, early August. So maybe we'll have some more information. By our next meeting. So if there's something more that I need species wise, Jen or Sue, I might reach out to you just to sort of go through our inventory in the nursery.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah,
That's great. That's huge.
yep. You're welcome. So one thing I did want to mention, and this is sort of not really a part of this, but it is that I have noticed in the last 2 weeks, and particularly since we've had a lot of flush growth of our Kentucky coffee trees, we've had a lot of Kentucky coffee tree failure, canopy failure.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, Rich, I'm going to connect with you. Are you back home?
I'm here for another 9 days, so I can get out and do some things
Okay.
in the next
Why don't I?
9 days.
Okay. Are you? I'll catch up with you offline tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay. It's just that what's happened is that because the Kentucky coffee trees are being taken care of so well, they and the type of leaf arrangement that they have, every time that we get some sort of, rain, the leaf area is so wet and heavy. Leaflets, they basically take a lot of weight and then they have a bending moment and typically they break at some codominant stem. So I've had to deal with multiples. I have a resident on Wilson Avenue who would like the Kentucky coffee tree removed that's there because it keeps falling apart. Now there's no canopy, but again, I'll talk to Rich about that offline tomorrow. But I was noticing this as I was walking down with the Smith College folks because we planted quite a few Kentucky coffee trees on the John M. Green side of the sidewalk there, basically from St. John's Episcopal Church down towards John M. Green Hall. So we're sort of going to have to, I think, again, just take a little harder look at, again, this is just like a species failure as part of their profile. And they grow very quickly. I mean, some of the leaflets now they're already 24 inches. You know, of course, it's spring wood, right? So I mean, this is when trees they grow the most. Um, so it's you know, a lot of cellulose, a lot of big cellulose growth right now. Lignin growth happens later on in the fall for strength, but so they're just sort of like I had to go back also and do the one that was on High Street, which has been pruned multiple times. I know it's been pruned multiple times by the volunteers in the winter, but that also had a failure, and that main stem is now gone out of that tree.
Mm.
So we're gonna have to, or actually, the main stem has been reduced. I had to have Bartlett come and trim it because it's so tall. So, but it's just thinking about going back again, just thinking about the right tree, right place, and right species. So.
Do you think Kentucky coffee tree is no longer a good choice for us?
No, I think it's a good choice. I think we have to sort of treat it like the hybrid elms that we've planted. They need to be basically pruned every single year until they have developed that, that dominant, develop the correct structure and the architecture is such that they're not going to fail. We had we had a hybrid elm fail in front of the South Street D.A. Sullivan School. So in front of D.A. Sullivan on Elm Street, there were
yeah.
2 elms planted. One on the right-hand side, the whole top of it just came. So, but it's again, Rich, you and I will probably let's try to connect tomorrow, and then we'll just sort of um figure out best game plan.
Okay.
Um, but no, the Kentucky coffee tree, I think is a great street tree because it's so disease and pest resistant, and it can grow in concrete.
Mhm.
So it's sort of like the hackberry.
Oh.
It's just getting the form is different. You know, the hackberry form is different. The Kentucky coffee tree is different. It has different type leaves, obviously. It's just a matter of trying to execute some maybe more pruning during the growing season versus just pruning in the winter months because Kentucky coffee trees can be a little difficult to prune in the winter months because you can't really they look so much shorter in the winter months. So,
Right.
but anyways, not to belay the subject. Um, okay. So any other questions about the setback initiative? Okay. Spring planting 2025 report summary. That would be,
I think that's me.
yes, 2025, excuse me. Do you want a screen share?
I can, it's short, but it's
Okay,
probably helpful.
let me just make you a co-host.
All right.
Okay, you're good to go.
Do I have to make it share or do you?
No,
Hold on.
you do on the bottom if you have
Yeah, gotcha. Hold on one second.
Yep. No problem.
I can't remember how to do that. Do I go to participants or?
No, on the bottom of the screen, it should be between React
Oh,
and
there it is.
Host
Got it.
Tools. Just hit the share button.
Yep. Okay. There we
Go
go.
over one more. There you go. You got
All
it.
right. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. All righty. So this is a little short. But we had some various struggles this year. It was cold, it was wet, and we had a bunch of thunderstorms on the days that we plant. So that's just a challenge because we have set days that we plant. You know, if we were running a regular crew, you just send your crew out the next day, you know, but we don't really operate that way. So, and also, as we all know, the DPW in general and the Forestry Department is under duress of staffing issues. So we did have 10 total plantings, and also Memorial Day Memorial Day is within our spring planting season, and we don't plant that weekend or the whole week before because the crews are out trying to get the cemeteries ready. So that just gives you a little bit of picture of all the things we balance. But we had a total of 10 plantings. We planted a total of 72 trees. 32 of those were bare roots. And the other 40 were grow bag or ball and burlaps. We had one successful planting of a setback tree. We had several others that didn't work out for various reasons. It's not like we don't have setback requests where we've got some in the pipeline, and there was a couple that just didn't work out. We did have, interestingly, probably the highest number of tree deaths that I've known since we've been planting, I think, and I think some of that could have been, the specific stock, or it could have been because the drought was so bad and they were just dried out. And I don't know if Rich, you have a thought about this, but they didn't have enough to make it through till the next year. So we have a list of them. The highest numbers were London plane trees and bald cypress, and they were mostly younger. We had a couple that were older. So those sites are appropriate for replanting, and we've got them on our list for the fall. So a couple highlights, Ridgeview Road, we had a big replacement planting for ash trees that were taken down because the emerald ash borer. There's no overhead wires there, so we had 14 pretty large trees. I think we had a couple that didn't make it, so we'll have to put those on our list too. We did have a Saturday planting with the Environmental Science Club and the teacher. And we had like 30 high school students out there. They were really excited. And most of you know about the JFK community planting with the Rotary Club. We did 28 bare root trees. We had to swing that to Sunday instead of Saturday because it snowed and iced the day we were supposed to plant. And but we pulled it off. I thought it went really well. Davis Circle was another one. We had 3 large trees and some other little bit smaller trees at the cul-de-sac. And that was instigated by a resident who, they have kind of a homeowners association on that street. And she got in touch with us, and Sue and I went out and met with her, and they had some requests and we fulfilled those, and got 3 very large oaks planted in that cul-de-sac, as well as some Winter King hawthorn and some serviceberry. And then
Can I jump in and say they had Zelkovas that failed? That's kind of an interesting.
Yeah. Right.
They had what that failed?
Sorry to interrupt you, Jen. Zelkova trees.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the data of what trees do well and what don't.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then another larger planting was on Hubbard Ave, which is down by it's the second last street before the rotary to go over the bridge, Coolidge Bridge. I think Rob just was working his way down and just never got to that street probably, but there was like no trees on that street. And we planted half the street. We planted the side that didn't have the wires, and we just ran out of weather and time to plant the other half. So that was 19 trees on that street. And people, we were excited about it for the most part. And then I just included, I've been trying the last couple seasons to keep track of my hours, just to not to toot my own horn or anything, but just to give some perspective. And I'm not the only one. You know, Sue is working and Christina's has hours she's putting in, and then all the volunteers. But I had over 100 hours between the end of February and the middle of June. And that wasn't including compiling a nursery order. And it's probably more than that because some days I forget to log on my own sheet. So anyway,
And does that include picking up tools, putting tools away,
yes,
supervising crews?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit on the low end because, like I said, some days I'm just doing, emails and somebody calls me and I got to go move a tree or whatever. So sometimes I don't fill it all in, but yeah, I just think it's useful information to be on, data to, as we move forward to think about the sustainability of the, in the future for the program. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So anybody have any questions?
This is huge. Thanks, Jen. This is
Yeah, that's huge.
great.
Thank you. I do have a couple of things to add. So, Jen, that list of trees that died, does that include did I send you the list of trees for Ridgeview? There was 4 trees that died.
Yeah, that doesn't include that. So
Okay.
there was about 20. I have to be honest with you, I was on the garden tour. So like all my
Priorities.
stuff out the window,
Priorities. It's okay.
and I'm going away next week. But when I come back, I was
Okay.
going to hold a Molly to go to look on Ryan Road and to kind of meet with Sue so we can get all our lists, because I feel a little I'm at,
Yep.
I don't have all the strings anchored to the ground right now. So it's probably 20. I mean, I have emails from Texas Rich. He removed a lot of the trees, which was, thank you for that. And yeah, so I will get a full
Okay.
list I'll compile it because
Okay.
I have to do it for myself anyway. So
Okay.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
The one other thing, what was I thinking about? Oh, some of them were ball and burlaps. What did we and I'd like to get your thinking about the ball and burlaps in general. If you've seen a trend, Rich, I just feel like when we plant them, I don't know if they're not root pruning before they dig them, like in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it just seems like, man, we open up the ball and there's stubs of structural roots and very, very little fibrous roots. And I think I sent you an email. I don't know if this is even practical, about the ball and burlaps we have now down in the nursery, if they could possibly be moved into, for the summer, moved into grow bags, and maybe
I don't have grow bags big enough. I'd have to buy grow bags and then
Yeah.
it is possible, but I personally think it would probably at this point
Too late.
it's too late, too hot. I think that they'd actually suffer transplant
Yeah,
shock.
yeah.
Um, and I would, yes, I agree with you. I typically like there's a subset of like trees that that get root pruned. And the way you should do it really is that if you're planning on selling trees this spring to someone and you want to harvest them, you would typically root prune the previous season.
Hmm.
So that way there, the trees roots were severed, let's say in the spring of 2024. Then the tree continues to grow in the same location that it is in the field, has a chance to develop a new fibrous root system. That fibrous root system now carries the tree through the summer, the fall. And then what happens is that in the spring, you go back when you're about to harvest it, and you basically make sure that you have to use a spade, and they actually slide the spade in the same place they slid it when they root pruned it back in the spring, previous growing season. And that way there you take all of the structural, I mean, you take the severed structural roots plus the new fibrous roots. I would say this is a good example. The trees that we planted at St. Mary's Cemetery that were the Winter King hawthorns, they, I don't know, three or four of them just fell over, went bloom right over. They have full canopies, fully leafed out, but their root balls are probably like literally no bigger than my laptop when it's open.
Mm.
And those, if you, any of you that were there, those were probably some, I don't know, Jen, what, 20 gallon, 25 gallon? Those are probably 25-gallon container of wire baskets.
Wow.
So I don't know. Every nursery does a little different, but seems to me those Winter King hawthorns, some of them were one or two were holdovers from the previous season that we had, but the rest of them came off a truck that season to grow them. And I'm just wondering if they just harvested them in the field and just bagged them and then put them on a truck and we ended up getting them. And that's what Jen is alluding to, is that there's not a lot of fibrous root system. Some of those trees that tipped over, one tree had some fibrous roots, the other three did not. So we stood them back up. I staked in a tripod around the tree, and then Brooke and I went over there with some supplemental water and some new mulch. Um, so, but that really is, sorry, that's my dog. Excuse me. Sorry if you heard that. She
Oh,
doesn't.
you can't hear it.
Okay, good. She doesn't feel well today. So,
Uh-oh.
excuse me. So, but I think, to be honest with you, I think the grow bag is probably the best result that we've had. As much as I know that we have to buy B&Bs at times to fill in the gap, I think the grow bag is just for the best bang for their buck, biggest root system, much better root to shoot ratio versus the B&B, which we know the root to shoot ratio is always off. And containers, believe it or not, containers are actually not a bad plant. They're not a bad plant growing medium if they're taken care of and they're upsized. But there's not enough people in the nursery industry to continue to upsize the plant material as it ages out in the containers. And so we end up getting a container, and it too has good root to shoot ratio. But the problem is that it's pot bound, and then we have volunteers spending like a ridiculous amount of time trying to separate it all or do surgery. So
Yeah, it has so many girdling
yeah,
roots. Yeah, boy, I planted a lot of trees for a lot of years, and those grow bags, it's like a hockey puck full of roots,
it is.
and occasionally you get ones that aren't, as filled out, but boy, they just I think, previous to this year, I think we were like 95% survival rate, which is insane for urban trees.
Yeah.
So, and some of that is the care and watering that you guys have done, in the times that were bad, but that were droughty. But Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think a couple of things too about the mortality is that last last fall, or sorry, end of last summer, beginning of fall, it was obviously very dry. The soil moisture in the top layers of the horizon, soil horizon, were really non-existent. So I can't remember when we started planting, but I think it was like at the end of September, maybe beginning of October. Even though it started to rain, the soil moisture and the horizon where the plants live is still very volatile and very dry. So, and that we didn't really catch up in our overall rainfall, seasonal rainfall until the end of this spring. So there's one factor that might have induced mortality is that there wasn't enough soil moisture. The second thing is that we had a tough winter. Our winter was cold. It was very snowy, which was good, but the ground was frozen. And, then we ended up having a couple of days where the ground was frozen and the temperatures were at 55, 60 degrees. So the young trees all trees get a signal like it's time to wake up. I need to take a drink, and they can't drink. And what they end up doing is they desiccate themselves because they are utilizing their reserves that are in the woody plant, the woody matter of the tree.
Mm.
And
And it was
then
windy.
and yes,
We had a very windy winter.
yes, very windy, and that is sort of like a phenomenon now. Every time that we have some sort of weather event or a change of weather, um, the following day there is wind that accompanies it. So if we have warm, very hot and humid temperatures, and we have a cold front that comes through, with the cold front just doesn't pass through. There is a tremendous amount of wind that comes with it. So in the winter months when there's wind and the combination of warm temperatures when the ground's frozen, it's a recipe for um, mortality of young trees, unfortunately. So, this year so far we've gone out and we've done supplemental watering for all the trees we've planted this year. We're monitoring trees we did last fall. We're probably going to end up start watering those as well. So Brooke has been out there once a week. Takes her about a day and a half probably to water the 74 trees we've planted.
Mm.
So, but it's been, um, it's, I think the mortality is probably goes in waves. We've been very lucky,
Mhm.
but I think it's weather related, species related, growing medium related.
We're still in a drought now. There's water use restrictions on.
Yes, we are. We're going back in that direction. So,
Ugh.
but so I think, I actually think it's good that we are actually planting at a smaller scale that's more manageable because if we end up having mortality, then we have the ability to go back and replace the trees, which is really key to a sustainable program. It's wonderful to continue to plant trees um, that are in places that have never been planted before. But I think we're at the point now that it's okay that if we only plant, you know, 75 to 100 trees spring and fall, and we're having to do replacements, that at least we're sending a message to the residents that we will, if the tree dies, we're gonna say we're gonna do what we said we were gonna do, which is to take care of the trees and replace them. Obviously, the goal is not to have the plant material die, but I think it's important till we find that sort of happy medium. So
Pardon
The
me if you said it, but what happened at JFK? Why did those die?
JFK trees didn't die. They just took forever to leaf out. They've
Oh,
leafed out.
good.
It's
Good.
the
Oh,
it's the tulip trees. They're very small leaves. So we're giving them water. We'll see what happens. But
Thank you.
I've seen other bare root stocks sort of act the same way this year. It just took a long time, and I don't know if it's because like you mentioned, Jen, the spring was like it's not a normal. It was just
it was
top.
weird.
Yeah, it was very weird, and it
They
took.
were alive, but
Yeah, yeah,
it looked like it was, beginning of April. They're just
yes,
like, yeah, it
yep.
was weird.
Hmm.
The
So,
two trees didn't have the best root systems, to
no,
be honest. The other ones were great, but
Yep.
those, and that's somewhat not unusual sometimes for the tulip trees that we get. It just must be hard tree to grow or something.
it's a hard tree to, maybe not so much to grow, but it's a hard tree to harvest because the root systems are so fleshy
Fleshy,
that
Hmm.
when they harvest them, I think there's a lot of breakage.
break off, yeah.
So they end
Yeah.
up having to root prune them, and then you really end up with large woody stems that have large wounds on them from pruning.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Oh,
I mean, it's always something to learn, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have one other thing to say. I met with the Smith folks, and they're gonna look at a list of trees. They had to anyway, we're gonna plant trees at Smith Folk. We're in the process.
Good.
The students will probably do it or do it themselves or help do it. Or I mean, I did mention that probably like some of us who planted a lot probably need to be there,
Mhm.
and he was fine with that.
Okay.
And they're going to give me a list. There's a forestry competition that they have to do tree ID. And when they had the fire and they built this new building, they had to cut down some trees and they need to replace some of them. So he was going to look at the planting plan and get back to me in August. And we're gonna try to get species to add to their list so the students have trees that are on the list that they didn't have before. So they could study them. Yeah. So it was great. I have a very good relationship with those guys over there. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, there could be a pretty big chunk of trees going in over there. So
And that's their budget, right? The
Mm,
trees.
no, no, it's city
Same?
property, right, Rich?
It's city
Ah.
property, yep, that is managed by a separate board
Yeah.
of trustees.
So
Okay,
we
so
can
we're
plant,
sourcing the trees.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we can plant along in the right of way, but also we can plant on the campus
Yep.
Oh,
too,
Yep.
because it's city property. So that's kind of great. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's no setback requirement.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah, that building is, if anyone has a chance, take a ride, loop, now there's no students, loop through the parking lot. That building is beautiful. It's huge.
I was on the building committee for that, and
Impressive.
they sourced local wood from the state. They get the superintendent did a brilliant job, like getting that, just coordinating different pots of money and getting people. It was a very, I was very impressed. And they're going to have a climbing column in there where students can learn to climb trees in the winter. I mean, it's a really nice building. I got to walk around in there, and yeah. And there's native wood paneling on the inside, and purposeful. It's cool. It's good. Yeah.
On that note, I know I went to well, I'll wait till we're done and I'll tell you. Is there anyone else that has any questions or
I
comments?
just want to say to Jen,
Yeah.
I'm going to be away until July 27th.
Mhm.
So we'll have to do our Ryan Road thing after that.
Yeah, that's great. I'll make
Okay.
yeah. Thank you for sending out a little messages. I appreciate it. So I just haven't been able to coordinate
Yeah.
yet.
You've done a lot of other good stuff.
Thank you. July 27th. Okay.
Is any other questions for Jen or any comments about the planting report, planting summary? Jen, thank you very much. You have been and all of you who have helped or taken up the mantle of the planting aspect of what we do has been very helpful, and you're doing a great job, and I appreciate it greatly. So thank you. Um, and we do have the same, the one thing I didn't mention earlier is the city budget went into effect July 1. So we have the same funding mechanisms that we had last fiscal year for planting. So we are good to go to plant many,
Awesome.
many trees. So
Hmm.
um, anything not anticipated by the chair that anyone would like to bring up?
I'm as
Yes.
usual wondering about this planting statistics for last year and wondering if there's anything I can do to help get that ready.
No, I have to go now that I have the list of all the trees that died last year. I need to actually yank those. I need to do some little rejiggering of that spreadsheet. So my goal is to send you last year's and this spring once we reconcile it all. So at least you'll have a year and a half worth of data.
Oh, okay.
So, um, and I sort of would like to wait until Jen comes back so I can just sit down with her and we can go over the spreadsheet. Yes, Jen.
I just want to say one thing about Rich Parrish really got on removing the dead trees, the trees that died over the winter. And I just feel like, well, he did a great job, but also it's super important from a optics point of view that, you know, those trees were removed, a stake is in the ground, and a lot of people know now what those white stakes mean. So it was very smooth and very timely. I think it's really important that we don't have dead trees just hanging out there. So and also we were able to replant. We had some London plane tree death in the cemetery in on Bridge Road, and you know, we took those out and almost got them back in within the week. So it was that was great. We happened to have the trees, so that was
Also,
good.
Rich, Parrish, and Jen too, you deserve a lot of credit for how responsive you are when people get in touch and they have a tree they're worried about, that you go right over and you take a look and you provide such meaningful, feedback, and that really does show the public that people care.
Yep. Uh, uh, Agreed. Um, and Kent, I will get you that data, I promise. I know you're like, man,
Okay.
I'm asking like 1,700 times, but now that we have all these dead trees, I want to make sure I don't give you the data that is
Yeah.
corrupt. So, um, any other questions, comments? So I wanted to leave you with one thing is that we this past weekend I went to the New England ISA International Society of Arboriculture tree climbing competition, which was held in Warwick, Rhode Island. And Jen, you that clicked in my head when you talked about the climbing system inside the building. So one of the there's multiple there's 2 days worth of climbing. There was 31 climbers and 75 volunteers to support the climbers. I was my role was I was in the score team group, so I basically was a runner and did scoring for the climbing to different competitions. So they had a competition for like belayed speed climb, fastest climb into a 50-foot tree. Aerial rescue when they rescue a mannequin. Mannequin's name was Twiggy, figure that one right. And yeah, that they did that the work climb where there's 5 stations in the canopy where climbers have to go and do all of the different workstations and tasks, and they get graded on communication. They get graded on um, their timeliness. Everything is timed as well. There was a throw bag competition. So when you throw your throw line into the tree in order to get your climbing line in the tree, and then there was ascending climbing. So the fastest ascender on a single line into a canopy 50 feet. So I was blown away, but they also have the Masters Challenge, which is on the last day. They have 6 people out of the 31 climbers that have actually achieved the highest points on all the combined 5 events the day before. And one of the winners to participate in Master Challenge was a student who was 17 years old from Norfolk Aggie. So I'm going to try to find a picture of her. She was not the winner, but um, she was determined to get into this tree. And I was just blown away because climbing is not something that I do, right? I was blown away at the amount of effort and energy and enthusiasm that all these climbers had to sort of come together and just um, here she is right here. So she is one of the, can you see that?
Wow.
Yeah. So there she is, and this is one of the largest trees on, and she's trying to throw her throw line in, and she got it. She got into the tree, and before she timed out, she got down out of the tree. So unfortunately she didn't win this particular challenge set, but the 2 folks that did win, um, which I will find their photograph shortly. Let me just stop sharing so I don't drive you crazy. Um, they actually have an all expense paid trip to New Zealand to compete in the international climbing championship that is put on by the International Society of Arboriculture that is representation from 19 chapters across the world. So that's going to be in Christchurch, New Zealand. But I just had a really good time. And it's a totally different world than what we're doing here as urban foresters, but it was really just so cool to sort of just be all together as a group and get to know other people. And I'm trying to find the photograph of the winners, and it's eluding me. Let's see, where is Jake? Jake Slade and Julie. Sorry. Um, so here's a photograph of all the people that were in the Masters Challenge, and I'm just sort of, you can tell I'm a little proud of this, right, or something. So these are the climbers are in the yellow, and this gentleman's a climber as well, and this gentleman is as well. And this is Bruce Duffy, who taught tree climbing for many years, and his wife Melissa at Norfolk Aggie. And these are just the climbers. You might recognize this climber here, Stella D. She's a PhD student at UMass. Is a PhD student with Brian Kane, studying tree biomechanics. So really interesting. And this is Greg Lucas, who's our treasurer, who's the chairperson of this competition. Um, so Julie, this is Julie and Jake. They're the ones that are going to Christchurch, New Zealand.
Cool.
Oh, it was very cool. We actually planted a couple of trees there too. And so it was um the location was at the Masonic Youth Center in Warwick. And so the ISA New England provides them with a day free of tree care on the whole campus. There's 70 acres there, and they let us use the facilities at no cost. So it's pretty impressive. Bonnie, you don't have to write all this down because I just talked 75 miles an hour, but again, it's just was a really just another facet of this industry that we don't necessarily think about every day and we don't participate in. And these people were from all over New England, and they were the best of the best, and it was just impressive to be part of it. So I thought I just wanted to share with you because it's kind of important. So
Are
Thank
they
you.
all are they all arborists or training to be arborists?
most of them are either arborists or in training to be arborists. Yes, yep. Not all of many of the volunteers were arborists that actually volunteered time from their own company to come and work. Stanley Tree was there with Stanley Tree and Asplin was there to provide their 2 bucket trucks for emergencies in case we need to get climbers out of the tree. I mean, there was a lot of sponsors that sponsored this. And what a nice location right by the water. So
Hmm.
people could camp there. If you wanted to, they had a bathroom facility, they had pools. No one had time for the beach, but you know, it was really a lot of fun to watch a totally um just a totally different part of this industry. You know, even like doing tree work every day when we do tree work at the city, no one really climbs. They use a bucket truck. So just seeing the skill set of the best in New England was really impressive. So,
Mhm.
but anyways,
Cool.
that's my other business that I have. I didn't want to put on the agenda. I just thought I'd share it with y'all. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Anything else that anyone wants to discuss before we take a motion to adjourn? All right. So, again, our next meeting will be the 20th of August. Hopefully by then I'll have some more information about Smith College and the plantings. I'll have a chance to meet with Jen to talk about hopefully well before then about the trees and tree mortality, so we can go over that spreadsheet and get that to Kent. Rich, I'll connect with you tomorrow about the some of the damage to the Kentucky coffee trees, et cetera, and we can go from there. And then, as always, Bonnie, thank you for staying late and taking good care of us with the minutes and everything. We appreciate it. So, could I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move.
All right. Can we get a second?
I'll second.
All right. There's a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Raise your hand. Any nays? No. Any abstentions? None. Perfect. Okay. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.